Today we are going to be working on Unit 1, Lesson 6, and that's adding and subtracting rational expressions. So our learning target is to add and subtract rational expressions. Basically, you're going to have to remember how to add fractions and apply that to adding rational expressions. And then the same thing, you're going to have to remember how to subtract fractions and apply that to subtracting rational expressions. So now we're going to review on how to add fractions with common denominators. So when we do this, we have a nice common denominator of 5 because we have 5s are down in the denominator for both of the fractions there. So since that is true, we can go ahead and add the numerators there together, so 3 plus 1, and put it over the common denominator of 5. So we end up there with 4/5. Likewise, the second one there, 2 17ths plus 3 17ths, we can add our numerators there together and put it over the common denominator of 17. So we end up there simply with 5/17. And then our other one here, we have a common denominator there of x plus 3, and so we can simply add our numerators there together. 5 plus 6 there is 11, and then all over our common denominator of x plus 3. So now we're going to review on how to add fractions without common denominators. So to do so, we're going to have to get a common denominator. So what's the common denominator between 10 and 7? It would be 70. You could just simply multiply those two numbers there together, that 10 and the 7 down the denominator there, to get a common denominator. So I can multiply this by 7, then I have to multiply up here by 7. Over here I have to multiply down here by 10, so then I have to multiply up here by 10. So then what do we get? We get 21/70 plus 40/70. So now we have a nice common denominator down here, and so now we can simply add our numerators there together, and we get 61/70. And they always look to see if you can reduce down that fraction. In this case, we cannot reduce it down, so that is our solution. So now look at the next one there. We could just simply go ahead and multiply both sides there by one by 4 and the other one by 12, or you could find the least common denominator. So you can think, well, the bigger number there is 12. Is there anywhere to make that 4 there a 12? Yeah, I could multiply it by 3 to get 12 down there. So now I have 5/12. The first fraction did not change, but the second fraction there became 3/12. So now we can simply add the numerators together and put it over the common denominator of 12. So we get 8/12. And then we can reduce that down by 4. 4 goes in 8 there twice, and 4 goes into 12 there 3 times. All right, so then our next one down here, 1/3 plus 1/5. The common denominator is going to be 15, and again, you could just multiply those two numbers in the denominator together, so we get 15. And so we get 5/15 plus 3/15. Since we have a common denominator of 15, we can add our numerators there together, put it over the common denominator of 15. We get 8/15. Is there anything that goes into 8 that also goes into 15? No. So our final answer there is just 8/15. Common denominator in our next one there would be 23 times 11. So that would mean that you're going to have to multiply the first fraction there by 11. And a second fraction there by 23. So if we take 23 there times 11, we're going to get 253. (207 over 253). Now we can add 77 plus 207 all over 253. When we do that, we get 284 all over 253. All right, so looking at our next ones here, we need to get a common denominator. So the first one there has an x plus 4. The other one has an x minus 7. Remembered what we did on the other ones there on the previous page there of how we got a common denominator. We multiplied. So to get this, we need to multiply. Do those match? No, they don't match. So we're going to have to go ahead, and there's an x plus 4 here, and there's an x minus 7 on the next one. So I'm going to multiply this side by x minus 7 and this side here by x plus 4. So our common denominator is going to be x minus 7, x plus 4. So now I have to take 1 and distribute it through this. So I just get x minus 7 plus I have to distribute the 4 through, and I get 4x plus 16. So this is like a 1x. So I've got a 1x plus a 4x there is going to give me a 5x. And then I've got a negative 7 plus a 16 there is going to give us a plus 9. All over the common denominator here of x minus 7, x plus 4. All right, and then looking at our next one there, get a common denominator. How do you get a common denominator? You have to use multiplication. So this one's x minus 6, this one's x plus 2. They're not the same, so I'm going to multiply this one by x plus 2. So up here I'm going to multiply by x plus 2. Over here I'm missing an x minus 6, so I have to multiply up here by x minus 6. Alright, use your distributive property, distribute the 3 through. Use your distributive property, distribute your 5 through. So now doing so, distribute the 3 through, we get 3x plus 6. Don't forget the sign in here that goes in between, plus. And then distributing that 5 through on that next set there, we get 5x minus 30 all over the common denominator of x plus 2, x minus 6. Combine our like terms there. We've got a 3x plus a 5x there is going to give us an 8x. We have a 6 minus 30 there is going to give us a minus 24. All over the common denominator of x plus 2, x minus 6. And then if you notice up there in the numerator up there, you can pull out the GCF, and that numerator up there is an 8. So if you take an 8 out of there, 8 times what is 8x? It'd be an x. 8 times what is a minus 24? It's a minus 3. Everything is as simplified as it can get. All right, we're going to skip this last one. Now let's review on how to subtract fractions here with common denominators. So again, if they have a common denominator, you can just write it down and then subtract your numerators. So 3 minus 2 there is 1. So we simply get 1/7. Likewise with the next one here, the common denominator here of x plus 1, you can go ahead and subtract your numerators there, and we get 7 over x plus 1. So now let's subtract those that do not have a common denominator. So the common denominator here is going to be x minus 4 and x plus 6. So I have to multiply both the numerator and denominator by x minus 4 in this case. All right, so let's do that. So similar to what we did before, we're going to have to distribute the 5 through. So doing so there, we get 5x plus 30. And then here comes the part where it's a little tricky. There's a minus 2. There's a minus in between here. So make sure you distribute a minus sign through there. So you get a minus 2x plus 8. It's a minus 2 times x, which is a minus 2x. It's a minus 2 times a minus 4, which is a plus 8. All over the common denominator of x plus 6, x minus 4. Let's go ahead and let's combine our like terms. So you've got this 5x minus a 2x there, gives us a 3x. And we've got this positive 30 plus 8 there is going to give us a positive 38. All over the common denominator of x plus 6, x minus 4. All right, and then the one down here, we do not have a common denominator, so let's find the common denominator. It's going to be x minus 5, x plus 3. So I'm missing an x plus 3 here. Over here, I'm missing an x minus 5. So we're going to have to go ahead and FOIL out that x plus 3 times that x plus 3. And maybe I'll write it out this time. And then over here, we've got a minus x times x minus 5. All over the common denominator here of x plus 3, x minus 5. All right, so if you remember how this goes, when you FOIL it out, you're going to take x times x, then x times 3, then you're going to take 3 times x and 3 times 3. So let's do that. X times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 3 there is 9. All right, and then here, we're going to distribute the minus x through. So we get a minus x squared. A minus x times a minus 5 there is a plus 5x. All over x plus 3, x minus 5. So now we can combine our like terms. X squared minus x squared there. The x squareds there are going to cancel out. We've got a 3x plus a 3x is a 6x, plus a 5x there is an 11x. And then we have a plus 9 all over x plus 3, x minus 5. And you can't simplify that down any farther. All right, so now we just have some random ones in here. So we've got 5 over x squared plus 6x plus 8. So we're going to have to, I see we've got this quadratic down here. So we're going to have to factor that first. So what times what gives me x squared would be an x. What times what gives me 8 and adds give me a 6, that would be a 4 and a 2. And the next one's not a quadratic, so there's nothing to do with that. So now, in order to add two fractions together, what do we need? We need a common denominator. Well, if you look at the first one there, it's an x plus 4 and an x plus 2. The next one just has an x plus 2. So what's it missing? It's missing an x plus 4. So all we have to do is multiply this one by x plus 4. The first one doesn't need anything multiplied by to get a common denominator. So the first fraction can just stay like that. So let's distribute this 3 through. So we're going to leave a 5 up here. Distribute the 3 through, we get a 3x plus 12 all over the common denominator of x plus 4, x plus 2. And then simplify the numerator. So you got a 3x, and then the 5 plus 12 there is 17 all over the common denominator of x plus 4, x plus 2. All right, so our next one there, as we're looking at that one, notice we have another quadratic down here, so we're going to have to factor that. So let's factor that. I'm seeing that the x squared minus 16 there is the difference of squares. So if I take the square root of the x squared, I get an x. If I take the square root of 16 there, I get a 4. One's a plus and one's a minus. All right, what's our common denominator now? Well, the first one has an x minus 4 and an x plus 4. The second one only has an x plus 4. So what's the x plus 4 there missing? It's missing an x minus 4. So let's go ahead and let's multiply the second fraction here by x minus 4. So doing so, we can leave the x plus 5. And then on this one, we are going to distribute that minus x through the parentheses there. So doing so, we get a minus x squared and then a plus 4x. So we've got a minus x minus a 4 gives us a plus 4x. All over the common denominator of x minus 4, x plus 4. All right. So now let's just go ahead and combine our like terms. I like to put my squared term there first, so it's a minus x squared. The sign follows what's in front of it. We can combine our x and our plus 4x, so that's a 1x plus a 4x there is going to give us a 5x. And then we just have a plus 5 all over x minus 4, x plus 4. So that's all the farther we can really go with that one. All right, so this one here is a subtraction problem. Notice you need to get a common denominator. So to get a common denominator there, since that first fraction there's denominator is a quadratic, we're going to have to factor that. So I'm going to rewrite the fraction, the first fraction here, and then I'm going to factor the denominator. So x times x is x squared. What times what there gives me 20. That would be 20 and 1, 2 and 10. Oh yeah, 2 and 10 there will also give me 12. So plus 2 plus 10. And then over here, x minus 3 all over x plus 10. But I'm noticing that this one here has an x plus 2 and this one has an x plus 10. This one has an x plus 10, but is missing the x plus 2. So I'm going to multiply this denominator down here by x plus 2. So I have to multiply the numerator also by x plus 2. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do here is go ahead and that first, I'm going to combine my numerators there. So I'm going to go 2x plus 6 and then I've got a minus. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL out the numerator up there. So if I do that, I've got x times x times 2 there, gives me x times x is x squared, x times 2 there is 2x. Then I've got negative 3 times x and negative 3 times 2, so that's a negative 3x and a negative 6. All over the common denominator of x plus 10, x plus 2. So now what I want to do here is I'm going to combine my like terms up here. So I end up there getting 2x plus 6, and then minus x squared minus x minus 6. So when I'm doing this next step here, I'm not going to forget to distribute this negative sign through the numerator there. So when I do so, I have up here 2x plus 6, that does not change. Distribute the minus sign through, I get a minus x squared. A minus times a minus x there gives me a plus x. And then I've got a minus x times a minus 6 there gives me a plus 6. Alright, combine your like terms up there in the numerator. Notice there's nothing to combine with the negative x squared, so I'm just going to write down a negative x squared. Then I got a 2x plus a 1x gives me a 3x. And then I've got 6 plus 6 there is 12. All over the common denominator here of x plus 10, x plus 2. All right, so these are some ones for you to try right here. So if you want to go ahead and pause the video and factor these and perform the operations, that would be great. So here we are back. So let's just go ahead and go through these. So we need to get a common denominator. So in order to do that, we're going to factor the denominator down here. That's quadratic down here. X times x is x squared. What times what gives you 1 and adds to give you 2? That'd be a 1 and a 1. So now I'm going to need to get a common denominator. Notice the first fraction there has an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. But the second fraction here only has an x plus 1, so I need another x plus 1. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by x plus 1. So let's combine our numerators there. I'm going to go ahead and distribute the positive 3 through the parentheses there. So positive 3 times x there is plus 3x. And a plus 3 times 1 there is a plus 3. All over the common denominator there of x plus 1, x plus 1. Combine our like terms up there in the numerator. A 1x plus a 3x there is a 4x. And a 2 plus 3 there is a 5. All over the common denominator of x plus 1. And another way of writing the denominator down there is, since there's 2x plus 1s, you can say that's x plus 1 in parentheses squared. So either one of these answers there works. All right, and example 2 here, you need a common denominator, but before we can get that, we're going to have to factor the denominator down there. I'm seeing it's an x squared minus 9. So that is the difference of squares. So the square of the first term there of x squared there is x. The square root of 9 there is 3. And then one's a plus and one's a minus. Notice the second fraction over here is missing an x plus 3 down the denominator. So I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by x plus 3. I'm going to write down the common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite the x plus 1 down. And then I'm going to distribute. I've got a minus 3. I'm going to distribute that through the parentheses there. So minus 3 times x there is a minus 3x. A minus 3 times 3 there is a minus 9. I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms up there in the numerator. A 1x minus a 3x there gives me a negative 2x. 1 minus 9 there gives us a minus 8. All over the common denominator there of x plus 3, x minus 3. And then I could also pull out, up there in the numerator, I'm seeing that there's a GCF of a negative 2, so I could pull that out of each term. So negative 2 times what is a negative 2x would be an x. Negative 2 times what is a minus 8 there, that would be a plus 4. It doesn't really impact the answer there, so nothing crosses out because of that, but so either one of these would work for your final answer. And we're gonna, well, when we're looking at this one here, notice for this subtraction problem here, there isn't a quadratic, so we can't factor the denominator there. So it's just this one, the first fraction there is just missing an x minus 2. And the second fraction is just missing an x plus 1. So writing down the common denominator of x minus 2, x plus 1 for the first fraction. So then I can go ahead and I can distribute the 5 through the parentheses there. So 5 times x there is 5x. 5 times a minus 2 there is a minus 10. And then in the second fraction over here, you've got a minus 4. So distribute the minus 4 through. And when we do so there, we get a minus 4x. And a minus 4 times a 1 there is a minus 4. All over that common denominator. So now let's go ahead and let's combine our like terms. You've got 5x minus 4x there is x. A negative 10 minus 4 there is a minus 14. All over the common denominator x minus 2, x plus 1. You can't do anything with that. That's as simplified as it gets. So our learning target there was I can add and subtract rational expressions.